We have a habit.
Okay.
We have to follow our habits. Hey guys, welcome to another video from NZ Pocket Guide. Today is another one of our live session where we're going to answer all your questions about traveling New Zealand. But first up, let's celebrate today. Laura, can you have a guess of what day it is today?
Something completely random, like
Absolutely random.
National Umbrella Day.
Okay, if I give you a hint and I say, gotta catch them all.
Oh, it's Pokemon Day.
No, it is International Strawberry Day. It is also Pokemon Day. It's both Pokemon Day and International Strawberry Day. So here you go. You're going to catch them all Pokemon or them all strawberries.
Nothing to do with traveling in New Zealand.
Anyway, okay, so we're here to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, as Laura said, because we kind of are the experts of traveling in New Zealand. But Laura, why are we the experts?
Well, this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. And it literally has thousands and thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan your trip to New Zealand. Obviously, once you are able to come to New Zealand, because the borders are currently closed at the time of this live session. But it's never too early to plan, and nzpocketguide.com is the best place to go and get your New Zealand travel questions answered. But if you're not really into reading, because there is a lot of words on there, you can come onto our live session on our live chat, which we do every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. There's a link in the description below to tell you what time that is in your time zone. And yeah, during this live session, we answer your travel questions about New Zealand directly on the live chat. But if you miss the live session and you do have a question, you can put it in the comments of any of our YouTube videos, and we pull those together and we go through as many of those questions as we can during the live session as well. So yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping done, and we can go to the live chat.
All right, we have Anthony Comstock, which is all the way from Rodeo, California, USA. He says Morena. If you guys don't know what Morena means, it means good morning, Maori, which is the local indigenous language. We have Mosin that says Morena, Robin, Laura and Robin. Best wishes from Nairobi, Kenya. Oh, that's awesome. Best wishes from all the way from New Zealand to you. Chuck's Ozzy says good evening from Nigeria as well. Nice one. He says, please, I have an e-visa. Can I use it to come to New Zealand? So right now, the New Zealand borders are closed, so no, you cannot. And an e-visa is only allowing you to enter New Zealand anyway, to be a tourist in New Zealand. So it's not a visa for, coming and settle to New Zealand. It's for holidays, basically. The e-visa is only for holidays. Kiwi Lauren says, hi, team. I love your shirt, Laura.
Oh, thank you.
And Robin, I have a running jacket almost identical to yours. I hope it's a lovely day over here in New Zealand. It's okay.
It is quite nice. Yeah, it's pretty warm at the moment, and it's been nice.
It's warm
sunny.
and humid. We are only a handful of days before autumn. So next time we talk to you guys, it's going to be autumn already. Yeah. So it goes quite fast.
It does go quickly.
Mosin says, I have been closely following the COVID-19 update in Auckland. Been seeing the lockdown is now at alert 3. Any expected update or changes on New Zealand borders opening date 2022? So yes, so that's one of the big news of the day. Last night, it was announced last night around 11?
I think 10. I think we got our what's called notification on our phones at 10 p.m. last night.
Yeah, so around 10 o'clock last night, the New Zealand government announced that they are going to be placing Auckland back to alert level 3 because they got some cases there. They do that for 7 days. So alert level 3 is kind of giving you a little bit less freedom. You've got to work from home. Kids don't go to school. All the group meetings, gatherings. That's the word. Group gathering are limited to basically your own bubble. So the people that you kind of live with. If you are doing any funerals or events which are in a certain list, you can only do it with 10 people. So there is really kind of a lot of restrictions going around that, and that's just for 7 days. That's because there is another, and it's very small outbreak. They only have 2 cases, but they want to take absolutely no risk. The rest of the country is at alert level 2. So basically just be more careful. There's not too many restrictions for the rest of the country like what we are. Now, that does not change our prediction for New Zealand border opening dates. We still think that the earliest is going to be November or December 2021 at the way earliest, but we actually think that the borders will only reopen in 2022 just because of the vaccine rollout as well. So New Zealand last week, so we are basically 8 days into starting to vaccinate some people. They only work on government work, border workers and health workers and just at-risk professions for now. Then they're going to go for at-risk groups, such as elderlies and all those kind of things. And then after that, they will go to more of the general public. So because it's like a really slow rollout, we don't see any changes right now for the New Zealand border opening, and we stick to our current prediction. And that's why there has been almost 2 months that we haven't made a video with our border predictions. And YouTube is complaining about it because we don't get enough views because everybody is here just for those border opening predictions. But if no new news is coming, we're not going to make a video to just rehash exactly the same thing or to just give you fake news. We'd like to stick to the fact. So here you go. Clay Bryan says, good morning all. Morning, Clay. So, actually, Clay and Michael actually had a little bit of a meetup. So they sent me some pictures. I want to share that with you guys. So they were in Dunedin catching up, and they had a classic Dunedin day, which was, basically gray sky all around. So look at those guys traveling around.
Weather-wise.
Yeah. I'm not commenting on Michael's hair. I'm just commenting on the weather. So yes, those guys caught up. That was quite cool. Extreme Talauta says, Morena, how are you doing today? Sadaf Rayman says, hello guys. When will they be opening expression of interest for applying to residency? Until there is for you to come to New Zealand, until there is a border opening date, I don't think they're going to be pushing for expression of interest. They also already have a backlog to work through. So I don't think it's happening anytime soon. There is really no date right now. They may decide to reopen it in a few months, but we think that it's probably going to be like when they start making a plan of when the border reopens, then they're going to start reopening applications. There is no point in taking applications now and not knowing when people can come in.
Yeah.
Adil says, Kia ora, Robin and Laura. Kia ora. We also have Nathan Bates that says, morning, Laura and Robin.
Good
I love
morning.
when I say Laura first. And Michael says, good morning from French, Joseph.
Oh, that will be chilly.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the North Island.
Yep. How is it going down there? Are you going to be doing a couple of walks around, or are you taking a helicopter all the way to the glacier?
Doing the classic glacier heli hike?
What are you going to be up to? We have Merv Y that give us a little bit of a flower. I like it. And Michael says, what's great to catch up with Clay. That's nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was quite fun to organize that. I had to do a bit of messaging between all of them, but yeah.
Bringing people together.
Extreme Talota asks us, how are we doing? We're doing pretty well. I just can't believe summer is already over. That was real fast.
It has gone really quickly, hasn't it?
And Jurai says, hi, good morning. He's Jurai from Qatar.
Oh, good
That's
morning.
Cool. I love how you guys are everywhere.
All
in
over the world.
That's so cool. All right, guys. So while you guys are warming up and sending us some more questions on live chat, we're going to answer a question that we received in the comment section of our video.
Yep.
This week, I think, or the week before. I can't remember. We're a little bit behind.
At some point. Okay. So we got a question from MKGB5643 saying, thanks for all the videos. It is super helpful. What currency should I take with me to New Zealand? I can't find New Zealand dollars where I am, and you guys recommend all the time not to exchange money at the airport.
All right, so that is true. We usually recommend not to exchange money at the airport in order to save a little bit of money on your money exchange. It is quite well known that exchanging money at an airport is usually more expensive. And Laura is going to give you a ton of tips a little bit later on how to save money when exchanging money. But let's first answer your question and see what kind of currency you can get. So even where I'm from, originally I was from France. And even when I started traveling, like getting selected currencies from the town I was in was actually really hard. And you simply just, for example, couldn't get New Zealand dollars. So you may be stuck with only a handful of currencies that you can choose from in order to come to New Zealand. So there is always the obvious, which is US dollars, euros, yen. They're usually kind of like the three currencies that you have, and quite often you get Australian dollars as well. So you get a bunch of currencies to select from. So if you don't have access to New Zealand dollars, it's fine. Don't panic, and don't feel like you have to exchange money when you arrive at the airport. Even in your home country, let's say you're leaving from the UK, exchange that money straight away at the airport to have some New Zealand dollars with you. It's really not that necessary. So the best currency you can get to come to New Zealand probably will be the Australian dollars, because New Zealand is so close to Australia, and there is a lot of travel, back and forth. There is always a big market for Australian dollars, so pretty much every single one of the currency converting places that you'll be able to use in Auckland or in Christchurch or in Wellington or in Queenstown, which are the first place you can land in. But most people land in Auckland, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So almost all of them will actually need Australian dollars constantly, so you'll be able to exchange Australian dollars very easily. Also, a good thing is that Australian dollar is always a little higher than New Zealand dollars, so you always get a little extra cash on the exchange, which is always good. The second currency you can get is US dollars. It's a staple of currency exchange. It's always a safe bet. You're traveling with USDs, so if you do travel with US dollars, it will be accepted everywhere. I don't see any places that wouldn't accept it. And the last one will be euros. So I'm classing them in order, so like when you can select, this is the order of priority that you should have when getting that. The last one will be euro. One of the good things about euro is that it's usually very, very strong compared to the New Zealand dollars, so you get a lot of money out of that. And also, the euros tend to fluctuate a little bit less, so it's a little bit sometimes of a safer bet. So that's the three currency that I would prioritize if I had to. If you can get Australian dollars, it's always better. And also consider doing that even if you have access to New Zealand dollars, but the exchange rate is really poor. So one of the things you can be doing is always use your phone and do a little bit of research and compare the rate, the raw rate that you will get, and to the chart that the currency converter will have. And if the exchange rate is really, really bad, get another currency and then come and do the exchange in New Zealand. You usually will get a better deal. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Now, most countries will have in their capital city some exchange places that will be able to have New Zealand dollars. So if you're really stressed about that, for example, originally I'm from France, in Paris, you will be able to find exchange, but it depends, where you're from as well. You may not want to leave the airport, go do that, and then come back. It just sounds like a little bit like nonsense, and doing it at the airport can be very expensive. All right, so now we're going to cover a few tips from Laura about how to save some money when doing this exchange. So you took your, let's say, Australian dollars to New Zealand. Now you have Australian dollars and you can't spend them in New Zealand. So how do you exchange them for cheap?
So what we would do is actually don't exchange it at Auckland Airport or Christchurch Airport or wherever you land in New Zealand. Don't actually exchange it at the airport. We would recommend actually waiting until you get into the city of whichever arrival city you get to. There, they tend to have a few different currency exchange bureaus to choose from. You can go up to them and ask how much it would be to exchange Australian dollars for New Zealand dollars, and you can do some comparisons. And that's obviously the best way to save money and make sure that you get the best deal is to compare, and then you go for the one that can give you the best exchange rate. But yeah, another thing as well is that you don't have to come to New Zealand and just exchange all the cash that you want and you think you'll need for the entire stay of your trip. Like in New Zealand, it's good to come with enough cash to basically see you through your first week in New Zealand. And the main reason for that is some credit cards and debit cards in New Zealand might not actually work because some banks around the world, if they see suspicious activity on your card, or you're buying things in New Zealand, which is very suspicious, you're across the world. Usually, we've seen a lot of people, we've met a lot of people that have had their cards basically have a block on their card for suspicious activity. So the first tip we would give you is tell your bank that you are going to be going to New Zealand, and that just to make sure that there's not going to be any blocks on there. When you do have your own debit or credit card for that you will bring to New Zealand, and you can use that to basically withdraw money in New Zealand dollars, There will be a currency exchange fee when you do that, but it's usually not too crazy. It's usually between 3 and 5%. So that's another way to withdraw cash once you arrive in New Zealand. You use your overseas credit or debit card, but make sure that it is either Visa or MasterCard. They tend to be the most widely accepted types of debit or credit card. For in New Zealand. So that's usually one thing to remember. And also New Zealand more widely accepts chip and PIN cards, not just swipey cards. I know that in some places that around the world, people are still using the swipey.
My US swipe cards was not accepted in many places.
Yeah, so that's not really accepted in New Zealand. So don't come to New Zealand just relying on that as well. And just a couple of things. Debit cards, when you are withdrawing money in New Zealand dollars, they'll have a withdrawal fee and a currency exchange fee. So that's, that will make it a little bit more expensive to withdraw in New Zealand dollars. But if you have a credit card, there's usually just the currency exchange fee that you have to pay, so you don't have to pay the withdrawal fee when you're taking out of an ATM. So that's something to bear in mind as well. There are other options like travel money cards, where basically you go and you buy a card with where you have like a set amount of money on a card, a set amount of credit, basically like a credit card, but it's set in different currencies. But usually they kind of tend to be about the same sort of price at currency exchange as getting a credit card. So we wouldn't really recommend going out of your way to get one of those. But yeah, hopefully there's a few tips there that will help you with saving a little bit of money when you come to New Zealand and you want to pay for things.
And if you want more tips, head to nzpocketguide.com. There is a link in the description below, and there is a link right here written. It's the largest travel guide to New Zealand. There is heaps of travel tips there, and there is actually a full article on how to save money on currency exchanges and which credit or debit card and everything you can use in New Zealand. So we have you covered right here, and it's all free to use. If you find this video useful, like and subscribe. It's always a great way to support the channel. And in the meantime, I'll go back to the live chat. All right. So yes, we missed a lot, but as usual, we're reading everything. So don't panic. We have Robert, which is back, and he says, last week, EB Hunter asked where he or she can score marijuana in New Zealand. I read this week, New Zealand's drug of choice is adrenaline, and Kiwis consistently overdose. No kidding, Kiwis are encompassed by wild and churning waters, surrounded by tectonic plate collision, subject to seismic tremors and sulfur dioxide gas. Why not add bungee jumping, skydiving, jet boating, and whitewater rafting?
Well, there
you know what?
go.
That's a very smart way to answer the question. Ours was just to kind of make some joke out of it, but I do like that. I think that was really cool. Jurai is very nice. He says, super helpful video, guys. Keep on always. You are awesome.
Thank you.
Lorena is agreeing with Robert, and she says that she do all the things that scares her the most when she travels around New Zealand. That's a good way to go about it as well. Yeah, we tend to like jumping from planes. Clay and Michael are discussing about Michael's travel plans. Moshin says, when are you guys going for some thrill-seeking adventures like bungee jumping at Caro or Nevis, Queenstown? So we've done a lot of those adventures. Did you watch New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, in which we did a challenge where we have to do 365 activities all around New Zealand in 365 days? If you want to type on the search bar of Google on YouTube, you can type bungee and then NZ Pocket Guide, and you'll find the video. And it's quite entertaining. So yeah, we've done quite a lot of them, and we still do activities regularly. Not this week because there is another alert level, but usually we do a lot of activities. We just don't film them and show it to you guys. We just kind of rate and write on the website and everything like that. Filming and then releasing the videos all the time is a lot of work, and our main focus is to keep the travel guide up to date. So sometimes we've got to do some stuff where we don't make a video out of it, and we're very sorry about it, but all of it is on the website.
Yeah.
Kiwi Loren says, the one place I visited twice, but I hardly remember is Christchurch, probably because it was always near the end of my trip and I was tired. I've seen pictures of murals everywhere, and I'm keen to find them. I really remember the beautiful cathedral that was completely destroyed in the earthquake. I assume even if I pay much more attention next time I'm here, I wouldn't recognize much anymore, would I? I don't really know. So obviously we've been to Christchurch quite a lot, so we kind of seen the change of Christchurch kind of gradually. So I can't really just pinpoint right now, like, what was it 10 years ago? You know what I mean? Like, it's harder to kind of remember that. But yeah, the city has changed. And to be fair, even a city that doesn't suffer earthquakes still changed quite a lot throughout the years. So yeah, the Restart Mall is about to be removed and all that.
I think it already has been removed, hasn't it?
Yeah, actually, it already has.
Yeah.
Sorry, my information are wrong. But yeah, so there was a shopping mall made out of containers, which has been removed. The city is really being rebuilt right now. And the cathedral still has a big gaping hole, but it will get covered at some point.
But then again, Auckland is a city that I feel every time I go to Auckland, I feel like it's always changing. It's constantly has construction, like across streets, and in streets that you used to be able to use to cross to get to somewhere. It's like you have to take a massive detour because there's always construction going on. So
yeah, I feel like Auckland's always different.
Yeah, I feel like the same can be said for Auckland, but they didn't suffer any damage from earthquakes. But they just there's always construction.
Yeah. Nathan Based says, I like the video about what things are free to do for Taupo people who want to visit. Oh, that's
good.
Nice. So that's a video that we published last week, I think. So if you guys want to check it out, if you are making your way to Taupo, we are listing about 10 things to do there. And Nathan, if you want to find some more, you can head out to the website. We actually have a longer list with even more free things to do in Taupo.
Yeah, we have lots of articles on Taupo, actually.
Lots. Cedric Macwan says, if I want to come in March 2021, so literally in about 3 days, on a tourist visa, when will the border be open? Is it in the month of March? Absolutely not. Our prediction. So right now there is no opening date announced for the borders of New Zealand. So March 2021. No, it's literally in 3 days, and if it was about to be open, it would have been announced, right? So our prediction with Laura is that we think the earliest maybe would be November or December 2021. Our gut feeling is that it's probably going to be only in 2022. So we don't think that you will be able to come as a tourist to New Zealand in 2021. Okay, there is quarantine, there is all of that. So maybe take that time to plan your trip and, do more research, plan your itinerary and all that. And use that time wisely, and then you'll be able to have an awesome time in New Zealand. But you won't be able to come to New Zealand in about 3 days. Michael is talking about his trip. And Michael Mariano is here and he says aloha and good morning with ton of emojis. Awesome. Kiwi Loren says, have you stayed at the Sir Cedric Tahuna Pod in Queenstown? Maybe they just have a great website, but that place looks really cool. I've bookmarked it as possibility for my next trip. Yes, I have stayed at Tahuna Pod in Queenstown. It is quite cool. So it doesn't just have pods, by the way. So if you don't want to stay in just the pod, you can stay in normal rooms if you want to. But it's obviously much cheaper to stay in the pods. It's nice. It's a little outside, so it's a nice little stroll to get there. Yeah, it's a cool hostel. I mean, it's a hostel, it is one of the nicer hostels in Queenstown, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We do have the list actually on NZ Pocket Guide of our favorite hostel in Auckland, in Queenstown. So there are some. Okay, I'm gonna tell you my favorite. It's called Absolute QT. You should stay there. It's like right in the center. It's really awesome. So yeah, I think you're better off like have this central location. It's nicer, and the hostel is really awesome. So yeah, so it's called Absolute Queenstown. Absolute. It's kind of spelled quite weird. Yeah, but go on the website, Kilo, and then we kind of list our favorites and everything. And I really like Absolute. So yeah, you'll figure out which one I'm talking about when you read the list. But yeah, Sir Cedric is a really good one as well.
Yeah.
Jurai says, super helpful video, guys. Keep it on always. Oh, he's been nice again. Well, keep on being nice, Jurai. You're awesome. Tosif Ahmed, I think that's pronounced like that. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, guys. So Tosif says, hi, what is the update about Visit New Zealand on tourist visa? Can I travel now? No, the borders are closed, and even Auckland, literally today at 6 a.m. went on a high alert level 3, so went higher because there has been a few cases found in the community. So no, you cannot come and travel to New Zealand to be a tourist right now. The borders are closed, and all prediction for borders opening will be at the earliest November or December 2021. But Laura and I, our gut feeling from all the information that we have, we think is 2022. We have a full video on the channel, which is a border opening predictions. So you may want to check it out. We talk for about, I'd say about 15 minutes, and we cover all the information that we have, and and all the information on which we base our prediction on as well, just so you are as informed as we are. So we literally go over every pieces of news that we have and how we interpret each of them. I think that would be a very helpful video to understand the current context in New Zealand. So I really invite you to actually check this one. To find this video, you can go on our channel, then you click on video, and then scroll and find the videos which have like red and yellow thumbnails. And there is 2 latest ones, so don't just watch the one which says border opening prediction number 5. That's our latest one. So keep on scrolling until you find border opening prediction number 5. But yeah, I think like watching this video will help you guys kind of understand the whole context, and not just me telling you, no, you can't come. It's not me being mean and say, no, you can't come. I want people to come to New Zealand, right? But I feel like there is a lot of information going through right now, and there's a lot of misinformation going through as well. So that's why I like to be really clear and not kind of give you like hope or like, yes, you can come next month. You just can't. But giving you clear information so you know where you're at, and also it's pointing you out to that video where we actually go a lot into details, and we make it really clear on like, this is the news like the actual news from the government, this is our interpretation, this is the news from the government, this is our interpretation, again and again and again, just so it's really clear for you guys, so you know exactly what is news and what is interpretation, because a lot of people pass like their opinion as news and everything. It can be dangerous. So Tosif says, yes, it is Tosif, so that's good. And say big hello from Pakistan, and thank you so much for providing such kind info. Oh, you're very welcome, Tosif. Thank you. Okay, where was I? Do we have Clay? No, they're discussing with Michael. Jura is giving us some emojis. Abby is here. And Don Darth and Mrs. Weetabix, and he says he's in Tauranga. So if you guys don't know, Abby is rewatching all the episodes of New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, in which we challenged ourselves to do 365 activities all around New Zealand in 365 days. And right now he's watching Tauranga. So that's around, we're going to get started the end of the trip soon. So
that's cool. On the way back.
What did we do in Tauranga, Laura?
We climbed Mount Maunganui.
On New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, not on the normal holiday.
We climbed up the Mount Maunganui, which is always a must-do to get some cool views. We did paddleboarding around Mount Maunganui as well, which was pretty cool. We did an escape room.
We went swimming with dolphins.
We went swimming with dolphins. Yes, I just started with that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. What else did we do? We went to the Tauranga Art Gallery. It's free, and you can go.
We checked out markets as well, food and markets and everything.
Yeah, there was like a food truck festival type thing going on, and we saw people doing bombing competitions on the waterfront. So basically, when you do a bomb into the water and you pull your body up, and basically they had a whole competition to do that. So that was quite fun to watch. So there's a few things that we did, but you can also watch us doing those activities on the channel. On New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year. So go check it out, guys, if you want to see us doing stuff in Tauranga.
Nathan says, I'm from Taupo, so I have a lot of knowledge of the area. Oh, that's cool. Well, Nathan, if you're local, I do some video interviews of local and asking you questions about what you like about your place and everything like that. So if you're interested in catching up with me, so we just do a video call, and I just record it and we talk about, things to do in Taupo and everything like that. If you're interested in doing that, you can reach out to me on the Facebook page of NZ Pocket Guide and just send us a message, and we may just organize that together. That'd be fun. If you're not keen, that's all good. You don't have to. Nikhil says, any update on student visas?
No new updates, I'm afraid. As we were talking about before, the borders are still closed, and there's been no announcements for the borders opening, and basically, there's been no change in information for quite a few weeks now, and that's including students. Basically, there's been no new information about when the next intake for students will be.
The last intake that we had, I made a video about it, so you have a video on the channel that you can check, Nikhil, if you want.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we can't really provide you with any good news. We can't tell you that you can come for the next intake, I'm afraid. Just have to hold on and keep looking out for updates.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Mayur Ahaya. I hope I'm terrible at pronouncing names sometimes. I'm sorry, Mayur. But yeah, so Mayur says, Master in Construction Management is a great scope in New Zealand. Which course is better, level 7 or level 9 for job perspective?
So this is a travel channel for New Zealand. We do not really specialize in studying. We don't specialize in particular career paths or anything like that. That's not really what we do here on this channel.
What do we do on this channel?
Yeah, we just talk about basically traveling in New Zealand and making the most of doing an awesome trip around the country. So unfortunately, we cannot really answer your question, Mayur, because otherwise we would be talking out of our butts if we did. We don't really know. We don't
like to give fake information. So if you don't know, we will tell you straight away.
Yeah.
We don't know. And since we're not job experts or education experts, we can't answer this question. What we can tell you is that if you tell us, I'm going to study in Auckland or in Christchurch, we can tell you awesome things to do during the weekends.
Yeah. So sorry we can't answer your question, but hopefully you find your answers somewhere else.
Irshad says, good morning to you both from Auckland, back in lockdown level 3. Yes, we got the notification last night, obviously, like you probably did as well. So does it keep you from going to work? So do you get like a forced holiday? Because it's not that bad to get a forced holiday, let's be honest. But and how's the vibe over there in Auckland? Are you guys okay, or are you just kind of getting really sick of it? So we're not based in Auckland. I don't know if some of you may not know that. So we are in New Zealand, but we're in the central North Island. So we're really kind of in the countryside of New Zealand. So that means that we get a bit more freedom because the rest of New Zealand is only at alert level 2. So for us, life doesn't change too much, especially since we did a lot of socializing yesterday and now we're having a couple of weeks off. So that's pretty handy for us. It's basically best timing, which kind of not nice. Ryan Hafid says, when will the border reopen? So Ryan, we have a full video on the channel, which is called New Zealand Border Opening Predictions number 5. So you can find that by clicking on the icon of our channel and then going on video. And then from there, you'll be able to find a video with a big red and yellow thumbnail that says, when will New Zealand Border Opening Predictions number 5. There is also a video titled, will you be able to travel in New Zealand in 2021? That will answer this question as well. But in short, to give you a really, really quick information. So again, the videos are like all 15 minutes and give you a lot of fact and information. So you definitely should check those one out so you understand the whole context and you're not kind of expecting it to open every week or every month. But in short, we don't think that the border of New Zealand will reopen before 2022. That's our gut feeling. At the earliest, it will be November or December 2021. At the earliest, but our gut feeling is 2022. But there has been no official information released. So it's not me telling you off and say, no, you can't go. It's literally just, there is no information. So we can just base ourselves on the amount of data that we currently have. And that's why I advise you to watch those 2 videos that we have, because we go in depth into all the information that we have. Abby says, what do you guys do during the lockdown? So we're not on, where we are based right now, we're not on the lockdown. But what did we do during the lockdown, Laura? Let's just talk about it. That's kind of interesting. What did we do?
Well, we played a lot of video games. We played a lot of board games. We did a lot of gardening.
Yes, we redid the whole garden. So where we are, we have a little bit of a garden. So, we did like a whole veggie patch. We built a tunnel house. We planted fruit trees. We did a lot of work.
Yeah, so we did a lot of we just do vegetables. We don't do flowers or anything. But yeah, that was kind of fun to do.
Yeah, as a hobby, I started learning welding. So I watched YouTube videos and I have a welder and I started learning welding. So that was kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, and as a hobby for me, I started trying to write novels. So yeah, that was what I did as well. So it's a good time to just try some different things if you're a bit restricted, and usually people don't have the time in their lives to do something new often if you're, between work and things. So we sort of took it as an opportunity really to just try and do some new skills.
But I won't lie to you guys. Our number one activity during the lockdown was in the kitchen. Laura was baking almost every day, and damn, that was good. So yeah, she did a lot of baking. I don't know, she got really into baking and everything, and I got into making my own pastas. So here you go. Yeah. We did a lot of stuff in the kitchen as well. So that was kind of entertaining. Honestly, we really did the most of it. Work-wise, so that was kind of hobby-wise, not being able to get outdoors and go. But work-wise, we actually started doing updates on every single article on NZ Pocket Guide and on our other website, Fiji Pocket Guide for the country of Fiji, Niue, and Tonga Pocket Guide. So we actually did update every single one of the articles on the website, make sure that everything is fresh and up to date. So it was a good way for us to be able to go and do a lot of updates. And we also changed a lot of like the text behind it. So now we're on cloud servers and everything like that. So the website should be faster and load better and all those kind of things. So we've done some stuff work-wise as well. So yeah, so it was all about finding a balance. What have you guys been doing during lockdown? Like, what did you all like find new hobbies or stuff like that? I mean, we just talked about what we were doing. We don't usually talk about personal stuff on each channel, to be quite honest. We very rarely do that. We always just try to focus to New Zealand. But if you guys want to tell us what you guys did during the lockdown, that'd be interesting. I'd love to know.
Yeah.
All right, where are we on right now?
Kiwi Lauren was asking what a flat white was. So that's a bit further up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Go for it.
So Kiwi Lauren says, I'm sure I could just Google this, but I think I'll ask anyway. I'm not a coffee drinker. What is a flat white? Just a coffee with some cream or milk as opposed to something frothy? Okay, well, we could go into detail of what a flat white is.
Laura has a barista certificate. I just want you guys to know that on the personal
I don't actually want people to know that.
No, it's out there. I just want everybody to know that Laura has done a course from the Barista Academy. And she has a first certificate.
I did it for research reasons for NZ Pocket Guide.
She has a barista certificate. So you are talking.
But I did get a barista certificate out of this research.
You are talking to a certified barista MD right here. So here you go. What's a flat white, Laura?
So yeah, basically a flat white is mainly milk in a coffee mug, but it's you've seen the barista machines where they froth the milk, they steam it, make it hot and frothy, and then it just has one shot of basically coffee in there, one shot of espresso mixed with the milk. So it's just a really milky sort of coffee. Some places put 2 shots for their flat whites to make it a bit stronger. Some places put 1 shot of coffee if they're a bit cheap. You'll find it a little bit different around New Zealand, but that's basically what it is. It's a very milky coffee.
All right. So again, we're reading all the comments, right? So just hang on with us. You guys have commented a lot while we're chatting about the lockdown. So I will read everything. So don't panic. I'm scrolling back up. So we have Abby, which says, Robin needs to practice his haka. That's referring to some of our videos in Rotorua that we have. It says, P.S. that wardens always give me the goosebumps. Great manner. Nice. Yeah, mine doesn't give goosebumps to anyone. It gives pangs of laughter usually to most people.
Belly aches.
MB is here with us today as well, and he says, I admire Robin and Laura. I'm not getting frustrated with the same when will the border open question over and over and over again. Personally, I will get annoyed in 20 seconds. Lol. Well, to be fair, a lot of people that just jump on the video right now to ask questions, they just didn't watch the first beginning of the video. So I understand, you just pop in, you ask the questions, and you have no context. They don't know that we already said that 20 times. So sometimes I say, rewind, because I literally answered that 4 times, which is probably going to happen next time I read that question. But often I just take the time to say it again, which is what I'm going to do. Aman Memon says, when will the New Zealand border open for international students? Right on QMB. Here you go. Aman, if you don't mind, just rewind the video a little bit. We've talked about this already 4 times in the last 38 minutes. So if you want to check that out, we'll go over in depth. I'll point out to some videos and also tell you what our current predictions are. So if you don't mind rewinding the videos, that'd be lovely, because we already covered that a lot. And everybody else is going to be like, okay, Robin and Laura, can you guys talk about something else? Abby says, what did you guys do during the lockdown? I already read that. I did miss a lot of stuff, didn't I? Okay.
I think we're
Jonathan Bernardo says, we plan to travel with a teenage kid around the Wellington area. What places and activities do you think they would like around the area or a few hours around Wellington? Cape Palliser is really awesome. So it's a fun drive. You get to see seals, a seal colony, quite close to the roads and everything. So it's really cool. And then climbing up the stairs and everything that exhausts them. It's a lot of fun. You get some awesome views, you get some awesome shots, some awesome pictures for social media and everything. I think that's a place they would really love. If they're into the outdoors, you can even take a detour to the Pinnacles as well and check those one out. So I think that's a really cool place to visit. Do you have something or do I keep going?
Teenage kids. You keep going.
I think you should go to the Weta Workshop. The Weta Workshop is really awesome. This is basically the digital studio where they do a lot of the special effects for the Lord of the Rings, but also right now they're currently working on next 3 Avatar movies. They're working on a ton of amazing, like they did District 9, a ton of really amazing movies. So seeing behind the scene how they do the special effect and everything, it's fascinating. I know when I was a teen, I loved the movie. I was really into it. So going that in depth behind the scene, I think they're absolutely going to love it. So I think the Weta Workshop for teenagers, getting them engaged with it, it's one of the must-do, I think.
Yeah.
And also, it's not your traditional boring museum, because if you take them to the Te Papa Museum, which is a fantastic museum, I really love it. But telling a teenager, I'm going to take you to the museum, you usually kind of setting yourself up for a big, long face, but like, oh, fine, then they'll be on their phone the whole time. But if you get like to go to see how they make movies and special effects and everything, it's really, really awesome. So I think that's a really cool one. So that's the 2 first thing that just came into my mind. Although also it really depends on what they're into as well. But yeah, they also in the Weta they actually show also how they do some video games, because they do some video games. They have a digital studio that does video games. I like that. You
said
place.
That all very fast. I didn't even understand that.
But I really like that place.
Okay. I would say if you're local and if you guys do have your own bikes and stuff, a really cool cycle trail in the area is the Remutaka Cycle Trail. It has you going over like an old sort of railway line turned into a cycle trail. So you go through like different tunnels and things. That's kind of in the Upper Hutt sort of Petone area of Wellington. So that's a really cool thing to do with teenage kids. Otherwise, if you want to head south of Wellington, you can go to the Red Rocks Walkway. At certain times of the year, they have seals. I would have to look up when those times of the year. I think it's around like October, November. Yeah. But yeah, you can go and do this really cool walkway with seeing New Zealand fur seals, which is always really cool. A really cool active thing to do. So there's a couple of more suggestions for you there. But we do have tons of articles on nzpocketguide.com. We have lists of like 20 free and cheap things to do in the Wellington area. So if you don't want to spend too much money, we have this list of like a ton of things you could be doing. We have articles on activities to do with kids in Wellington, although that's probably more towards younger kids than teenage kids. We have all sorts of things from, just like adventure activities, wildlife activities, that sort of thing. So do go onto nzpocketguide.com, search in the Wellington area of the destinations category, and you'll have a ton of different things to look on there.
I hope that was helpful, Jonathan. But if you have any follow-up questions, just put them in the live chat. Okay, things that people did during the lockdown. MB says he did a lot of watching of Netflix and he did some baking. Ishrad says that luckily before the lockdown he had a really good Friday night with some workmates, so that's awesome. And so you got all that social craziness out before the lockdown. That's a good thing. Kiwi Lauren is giving you advice, Jonathan. She says you need to take them to the Te Papa Museum. It's free and you can spend so much time there. It is true, it's a really good museum. It's just usually selling a museum to teens, I think, is a little bit harder. Nathan Baith says, when do you think you will visit Taupo again? We were in Taupo yesterday, so we do go to Taupo regularly because we're in central North Island, so we're not too far from Taupo. So we go to Taupo quite regularly, and we drive by quite often as well. So yeah, we're not too far from Taupo. Abby says, did you watch other travelers' vlog, cooking, baking? Yeah, well, we made the whole list of what we did. No, we didn't watch too much YouTube or Netflix and everything. That's not really what we do. We like to engage with things. So we play games or stuff like that. Clay says, Is there? I think they're all talking about the fact that we answer the same questions all the time about the border opening, and it says MB, I probably get the frustration out on their behalf. My TV has been verbally abused weekly. Shouting at the TV, stop asking about the border. It's fine. Everybody has this question. That means New Zealand is very popular. It's a good thing. Nathan says, what would you do when you go to Taupo? Well, it depends. There is a lot of different things to do all the time. Last time we went there, we climbed Mount O'Hara, which was really cool.
Yeah.
MB says, Jonathan, you can take them to the Weta Cave, the props and the set and item for the Lord of the Ring creators. So here you go, Jonathan. That's another tip, and that agrees with me, so I like it. Riwani is wanting Clay to shout at his TV. So Riwani says, when are the borders opening in New Zealand? Now can we apply for visitor visas? So Riwani, if that's okay with you, would you be able to rewind the video about, let's say, 40 minutes? And we talk a lot about the New Zealand border opening, and we actually give our predictions and all that. But in short, to answer your questions, the New Zealand border opening is not going to happen until 2022, or that's what we think. It's not official, but that's what Laura and I think. And you cannot apply for a visitor visa now because the borders are closed. Nabonil says, give us a brief summary of your novel. I think that's a flat no.
It's not ready for pitching just yet.
No, I think she's very shy about it. So let's just
I've already tried to tell people what it's about, and I realized I'm not prepared to pitch this. So I'm not gonna. I've already learned my lesson.
At some point, give her. She will tell you about it. Abby says,
did you guys bake pavlovas?
Is that
yeah, I think that's where we were. Yeah, we have not actually tried to bake pavlovas. There's many things we've tried to bake.
We missed a lot.
Did we?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Well, yeah, no. Basically, we have not tried to bake pavlovas yet. It's meringue. I've not even tried to bake meringue yet. So one day, I mean, I have to. I'm in New Zealand. It is mandatory to try at least once. So yeah, it's on the list to try.
So Abby was actually saying what he was doing during the lockdown. He said he's studying for exam that may not even be conducted. That's what I'm up to.
That's annoying.
Here Shad is talking to Kiwi Loren about the flat white. You did spark a big conversation. Everybody's really into the spark, the flat white right here, Lauren. And they're talking. She's responding to them. So everybody's talking about the flat white. Nathan says during the first lockdown, his younger sister did a lot of baking as well. Yeah, I think that collectively, the people of Earth during this lockdown and COVID-19 put an ungodly amount of weight with all the baking that we all did.
That's why it was so hard to pick up flour in the supermarkets during the lockdown. Everybody was baking.
Tusif says, can you please share the link of the prediction video about the border opening, which you were talking about? I'm scrolling down on your channel, but I couldn't find it yet. Okay. I will. No, I don't want to update Windows. I will do that for you while Laura is going to be answering the next question. So just give me a second to see if I will work on that once we have a question. Ishrat says during the lockdown is just work from home and walk to the park. MB says plenty of manna in being able to make coffee, Laura. Here you go.
Especially in this country, people are crazy about their
barista.
coffee.
I'm going to keep on saying it. Certified barista. Kiwi Loren thanks barista Laura, and she said, that was totally not what I thought it was. I've heard a million times, but I was never sure.
Well, there you go.
Michael is giving another tip for Jonathan, and he says, there's a lot to do in Wellington, Jonathan. Te Papa Museum, which will fill a lot of hours, and the waterfront has activities places sick as wall climb, canoeing, boat trips, Wellington Museum, etc. So here you go. Abby was asking about Pavlova. We did that already. MB says he's a serious coffee snob. So here you go. Take that seriously. Adil says, where are we on? Oh, I missed. I lost one. Where is that? Oh, please add the website for the Ministry of Education New Zealand to the description box so that anyone with education-related queries can refer to it. Yes, that's education.govt.nz. Education.govt.nz. I will type it in the chat. I can't really edit the rest, the description. myself right now. I can edit it at the end of the video, which I will.
And for future videos as well.
But right now, yes, I will do that. That's smart.
Yeah,
you guys give me good ideas. I need to. Can you write that? Just add edu. Just add edu, so I remember that.
Yeah.
You guys are giving me good tip. I like it. Nabonil says, "What's your zombie apocalypse plan? How do you think New Zealand is a good place for surviving one?" It's very little amount of people, so that's handy. You take this question.
Well, a lot of people actually. You hear that a lot of rich sort of. I don't know, like they're usually people from the US, but you often hear stories of like people, like rich people from the US, like buying themselves like emergency land in New Zealand so that they can, you know, use their like doomsday. It can be their doomsday backup. So it seems like it's kind of like New Zealand has a bit of a reputation for a place to come if you want to avoid sort of nuclear warfare or you want to avoid zombie apocalypse or whatever. So yeah, New Zealand seems to have kind of got that reputation over the years, and I'd say it's pretty. Yeah, I see where people are coming from. It's isolated. It's out the way. It's
also the weirdest question we've ever received.
Yeah. So yeah, make of that what you will, and but yeah. New Zealand.
Okay, for Tosif and anyone that has questions about the New Zealand border openings, there is the link in the chat right now. I did post it myself. So here you go. In the chat box, I gave you the link so you can save it and watch it at the end of this video. So thanks for asking that, Tosif. That's a good idea. Where am I on? Did you bake pavlovas? What's your zombie plan apocalypse? Okay, Big Dealer in the house says, hi guys, how are we doing? We're doing pretty well. He says, I want to ask a question. Is there a lot of black people in New Zealand? That's a good question. You know, obviously, New Zealand is a very welcoming country. There is people of every colors in New Zealand, really. Like there is a lot of Asians, there is a lot of Indians, there is a lot of Maoris, which are a little bit darker skinned than Pakeha, which is what we are. We're white. Black people per se, I don't think it's something you see very, very often.
If you're talking about like African American type, or you know, like it's usually.
I had one black friend in Auckland, but he was just here. So he was here on a working holiday visa. So he was African American. He was from the US. So he was here just for 1 year as a gap year. But that's basically it. Like you end up having a lot of Maori friends and Indian friends and everything.
Yeah, I feel like there's more Indian, more like, you know, Polynesian, South Pacific type. More Asian as well, is more like people from like China and like Japan and that sort of thing, like more that sort of Asian and Indian and so
that's the kind of ethnicity you can find in New Zealand, but
and
there's not
as well.
There's really not that many, just from memory right now. Maybe we were not in the right spots around New Zealand and everything, but literally for my 10 years in New Zealand, I remember having like one friend that was there for only about 1 year, and that was pretty much it. Compared to places where I lived I lived in the US and like half of your friends are, at that point. So it's very different, but you have different ethnicity here, like a lot of Polynesians. Like we do hang out with a lot of Polynesian people and Polynesian culture. That was a cool question. We don't often get this kind of like straightforward question. Baby Burns says, hi again, guys. I've read the reviews on the Maui last few months, and it's going down. Are they still good?
As in the Maui dolphins. Yes. I think that's what it means. Yes. Yeah. So I don't think there's I think they are still very, very, very rare. I don't think it's definitely not going good. So I think it's still a pretty dire situation when it comes to the Maui dolphins. There's I think the Department of Conservation in New Zealand are still asking people to it's basically call in if they see any signs of Maui dolphins, if anyone's seen them, so they can check if they're still around.
So Baby Burns also say, by the way, we in Indonesia already have our first vaccine. Any idea when the border will open for already vaccinated person? We don't think that there's going to be a difference between people which are vaccinated and people which are not. We think that it's going to be a border opening. There's going to be some conditions of coming to travel to New Zealand, but I don't think that's going to there's going to be like the border will open tomorrow for people which are vaccinated and in 6 months for someone which is not. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a new policies for border opening, and it's going to be the same rule for everybody. We don't have any prediction, any dates right now, but you can check out our prediction video, and then the link is in the live chat. You can find the latest comment from NZ Pocket Guide, and bam, the link is right here. Because some people gave me good ideas rather than repeating myself, just point to the link. You guys are smart. I'm not, okay? I don't know why you're asking me questions. I should be asking you guys questions. How do I run this thing? How do I run it? Okay. MB was asking for some context about your question, Big Dealer, which he was asking black as in Papuan, African, Aboriginal, Melanesian, so which kind of black people. But I think we covered every kind of ethnicity to give you a little bit of our experience. But again, it depends on your circle of friends. So you will be able to have different experiences depending on where you stay as well and everything. Abby says, hey, if it wasn't New Zealand, which other country would you do your crazy 360 gap year thing? Which country has that much to do? I think it's just tough to do that.
I guess like somewhere that a huge country surely has that much to do.
I personally would like to go to Africa to spend more time in Africa and everything. So I think maybe like South Africa or something like that, like because like those big planes with all those safaris, and all those great migration, going to see the wildebeest migration and all those kind of things. Like I would love to see all those things, and I also love the cultures. Like it's so rich and colorful and everything like that. I love the songs. I do listen to this kind of music often and everything. I love this kind of thing. So I think I'd say South Africa because that's the first country that comes to. But I will have to do some research because I maybe Congo to go see the gorillas as well. Just those kind of. So I think like some of those places will have a lot of things to do there.
Yeah,
no, that'd be the kind of places that I will go into. But I haven't done enough research because we're in New Zealand. So yeah.
Yeah. What's something that although it's not a country, we have sort of discussed because we are close to this area is basically the South Pacific. It's made up of lots of different countries, lots of tiny islands are dotted around the South Pacific. Yeah. And we kind of thought like, we have discussed a few times, like, wouldn't it be cool to do some just like island hopping around the South Pacific and doing the same sort of thing as we did 365 days of 365
I thought about
activities.
That, but since it's not one country, I didn't.
Yeah, it's not one country, but it's kind of like they're so small that you can sort of cover an entire sort of region of the world.
All right. So we'll start going a little faster right now because we only had about
4 minutes. Yeah.
Well, you guys are going to keep us for longer. I can see it coming. Has the home tourist grown since the pandemic, says Photos of a Lifetime, and since people can't leave the country? Thanks. Yes, it has. There has been a significant uptake. So we do on NZ Pocket Guides, right? So we are the largest travel guide to New Zealand. So we get a lot of data out of that, and we actually get some information here, and that we do share that with the tourism industry as well. And we've seen a significant input on that. You also have more regional tourism as well. So people do more in their own, literally, their own cities and everything. They do more here as well. But Kiwis travel much less, long, they will take just weekend breaks and those kind of things. They would spend much less money because they're own country. So compared to international travelers, it doesn't help the tourism industry as much. But yes, there definitely has been more people doing more things here because you can't fly to Fiji for your escape or fly to Australia or those kind of things. So yeah, definitely there's been some uptick on that. Sorry. Extreme Talotas says goodbye. Enjoy your 2-hour run. Bye-bye. Thank you for popping in. Saba182 says, what month within December or February is the best to visit New Zealand in terms of weather? That's the entire summer, so that's the best weather months. But if you have to pick one, which one do you pick?
For the best weather?
Yep.
I would actually say November. It's only just starting to get.
It says between November and February.
For the best.
So between December and February, and you say November. It's not within it has December.
Oh, okay.
Between December, January, and February, which one do you pick?
I would pick February.
Here you go, yeah. February.
Sorry, admittedly, I was not listening to the question.
So Saba, honestly, all 3 months are really good. They are summer, so they're the best month.
Yeah.
What did you do last time you went Topo, Nathan? I think I already replied that.
That one, yeah.
Montohara. Robert says, Laura, there is nothing to writing All you do is sit down at a typewriter and open a vein. Ernest Hemingway.
Wow.
Inspired?
That's the type of
No, she's still safe. She hasn't done none of that.
Type of stuff that writers would say, isn't it?
Sabah said, do you think New Zealand will open to international travelers soon? Sabah, just below your comment, there is a link with a border opening prediction. Check it out, and we talk about it for a good 15 minutes and give you all the information. Ishrad says, what's your opinion on vaccine passport for traveling in the future? I think that will become a thing for sure. We actually already pretty much have that, like in New Zealand and many countries, you literally have a little piece of like booklets, and on there you literally write which vaccine you've done, so we can keep in check, because we go a lot in the South Pacific countries which require or strongly advise to have a lot of different vaccines for like mosquito disease and all those kind of things. So we actually already have kind of travel passport, like vaccine passports already, and I think they're going to become more and more and more and more prominent. So I wouldn't be surprised if they become kind of a new thing. And to be fair, they already exist. They just brand it as a new thing, but they already kind of exist. When we travel, we literally have our vaccine passport on hand.
Yeah.
A big dealer in the house says, thanks, bro. You're welcome, mate. Abby says, to get on the coffee conversation, you guys could do this. An Indian twist. Honey, milk, and a pinch of pepper and turmeric. Make it into a thick mix and add it while preparing a flat white.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. Would you try that?
I would try that. Yeah.
Nice. I don't know what MB and Kiwi Lauren are chatting together, so I'm going to skip those things. Abby says India is in Asia, right? I think it is.
It is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
The continent.
I mean, when I was saying like Asian, and then I was saying Indian, like often, I think when I said Indian and Asian, I obviously meant, I know they're in the same continent, but people usually refer to like India's kind of like, there's so many people in India that they're like, people sort of kind of, when they describe them, split them for some reason, and I kind of just found myself doing the same thing. Yeah. It's
hard when you answer questions which are generic to not generalize, but not, take some people out as well. Sometimes it's really hard to kind of know, so you just kind of say what comes out of your mouth, and then you just realize maybe it's not the right thing to say.
Yeah.
They're all talking about food right now. Asoka says, all multicultural countries eventually end up in trouble. What will that happen to New Zealand? I think, honestly, I think you're talking about like the fact that, integration and everything like that. I actually think New Zealand is in a really good place because first, it's much smaller, right? So that always helps when you have like smaller amount of people. You usually come to an agreement much easier than when you have 400 million people. It's much harder to get them all to agree than 5 million, right? So that's already kind of like the first thing I think already. The second is I think that New Zealand is really like tremendously is based on immigration, right? New Zealand has some problems such as nepotism, which is an issue in New Zealand. But I feel like when you get immigrants coming to New Zealand, because we really do need more doctors, we really do need more construction workers, we really do need more of and that's how they base their immigration, right? You come in New Zealand because you bring those specific skills. So I think that the whole country knows that if that person came to New Zealand is because they were really much needed. So that straight away way more like it's more thankful than just kind of like, they're taking our job or whatever they say in South Park. What's that sentence?
Yeah,
they're stealing our job, so they don't really there's not really that feeling in New Zealand, right? Or at least I haven't experienced it, right?
It's more like, please take our jobs.
Yeah, it's like, can you do this, because we don't want to
do that.
Exactly, that's very much what it is. So as a foreigner in New Zealand as well, right? I immigrated into New Zealand. I'm originally from France, and Laura as well immigrated to New Zealand. I feel like we more have felt like someone is here to do that job, and that's good, more than the other way around. So, and we see that a lot with the lockdown. I think it's going to teach a lot of lessons, right? A lot of farmers which were taking entry-level workers for granted now have no one to pick their fruit and vegetables and everything, and they are losing money, so therefore they're going to have to pay and treat people better to do those jobs. The ski resorts right now are struggling for the next winter season to get staff in, and so I think that they're going to learn to respect those people more than just kind of taking people and just kind of minimum wage, terrible hours, no respect, you know what I mean? So I feel like this crisis will have a silver lining. That's just my opinion.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Or people will just go back to business as usual.
Yeah, I love those questions. You guys are going with deep questions at the moment. I like it. Clay... So Clay, which is screaming and shouting and throwing things at his TV when people ask about the border opening, says, "Okay, guys, have a good week. I'm off to get a new TV." That is too funny. That really makes me laugh. MB says, New Zealand is not officially a multicultural country. We are just accepting and tolerant over the cultures and beliefs. Yeah, I agree. It's not official, but I think if everybody is on board, you don't necessarily have to make it official. Okay, what else do we have? Anthony is saying it should be the end already, but say it's still here until the end. MB, do you want to read what MB says, Laura?
MB says NZ was created under a bicultural agreement between the Crown and the Maori called the Treaty of Waitangi. So yeah, it's New Zealand as the nation that we know it was actually two different sort of cultures combining to create a nation is kind of the short of it. So yeah, that's a good point to make. And Kiwi Lauren says, I wonder if Robin and Laura ever want to go past 2 p.m, but we always cut them off every week because we think it's only a 1 hour section.
I mean, it's 9 a.m. right now. I don't think we want to go to 2 p.m. That seems a little bit long. Yeah. But, when we have interesting questions, we always stick around for a few more minutes. Do you want to keep reading, Laura?
No, if you want me to.
I've been talking a lot, so.
So Big Dealer in the house says, I'm a Black African from Senegal, but I have been living here in Argentina for 10 years. Oh, that's nice. Cool. Nathan says, I enjoy the 365 gap year videos in Taupo. I wish I was there. Kiwi Lauren says, oh wait, I said 2 p.m. That's what time it is on Saturday here in the middle of Canada. Lol, I meant 9 a.m. there. Yeah, same diff.
We always pass 9 a.m. We always stay longer.
Yeah. Laura, MB says, Lauren, how long does the snow
last where you are in your area? So they're just chatting.
They're just talking about. Yeah.
Big Dealer in the house says, and until now, when I get out of the street, people look at me a lot for being Black. Do they look at Black people a lot in New Zealand? So sadly, it's something that we haven't experienced, right? Since we're not a Black African, right? But I'm trying to remember with that, the one friend I had, I think it will be a little unusual. So I think like kids maybe just will look and everything. But honestly, there is people of every colors in New Zealand. So I don't think that would be much of an issue. But I'm white. I just can't answer that question for you, sadly. So, I'll be honest with you. I just can't answer that.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we on? Saba says, thank you for your answer. Fun questions. Are you guys a fan of the Black Caps, the New Zealand cricket team? We don't watch much sport, but obviously when they're playing, we need to fit in, so we need to cheer for them. So
we'll cheer whoever everyone else is cheering
so
for.
If any Kiwis are watching, yes, we are, definitely a lot. We know everything about those guys with, hats.
But honestly, we're not huge sports fans.
We're not good with sports.
No.
Michael Connell says, February is better as it's just out of the school holidays. Being in December and not as busy, the weather is more reliable too. So here you go. Someone was asking, I think that was Sabah, that was asking about the weather.
Michael is answering the question much better than I did.
You asked about the weather and just weather. So for the weather, they're all three are the same. Then for when you should travel, February is definitely the best month.
Yeah.
Can you read this?
Kiwi Lauren and MB are having their own conversation. E.B. Hunter says, how long has the Frenchie lived in New Zealand? The Frenchie has lived in New Zealand for about 10 years now. So yeah, he knows the country well. He's actually spent more time out of France in his life than he has spent in France. So there's a quick little factoid for you there.
Milandino says, accordingly, this situation, is there any update about the vaccination program and will it be accelerated? Nothing has been said right now because I don't think you can really accelerate something if you don't have the vaccine. So New Zealand is getting a steady flow of vaccine right now, and they're vaccinating the border workers mostly, and the health workers and all the people at risk right now. So I think the vaccine is rolling out to plan. I don't think there's been any acceleration just because if you don't have the vaccine, you can't really accelerate anything. So that's just my opinion on that. Megan Roberts says, "Hey guys, where are some of your favorite places to eat in Auckland?" That's for Laura. She's the eating professional.
Well,
we give you 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, the food scene in Auckland does change quite a lot, and we haven't actually been out to eat in Auckland for maybe about a year now, so it could have changed in a year. But we usually like to go to a cafe called The Shelf on High Street in the center of Auckland, mainly not really to eat so much, but as more because their hot chocolates are amazing and their coffees, and we go there for a drink of like, you know, coffee or hot chocolate. They have like, you know, the pouring the Belgian chocolate and then you stir it with a chocolate stirrer, all that really fancy stuff. So we usually like,
and they have also waffles as well.
Yeah, the waffles are okay.
Number 1 pancakes, really cheap. It's really awesome. Is it on High Street as well? I think it is all the way up on.
Yeah, it's near it's near the Auckland Library.
Number 1 pancake. They do like, it's just kind of like a takeout place where they just do
street
pancakes.
Food.
Yeah, street food. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Giapo ice cream does really good ice creams over there. Yeah. If you want a food experience and you have the budget, go to the Orbit restaurant. It's all the way on top of the Sky Tower and it kind of turns around so you have beautiful views of the skyline as you eat. Botswana Butchery on the waterfront does amazing meat if you're into good meat. Any other one you want to recommend?
Not here, but if you go onto nzpocketguide.com, we do have a full foodie guide to Auckland with different things, depending on what you're looking for, going through different sections like Asian food, Maori food as well. So if you want to try something local and, you know, like sort of Western food and all that sort of thing. So yeah, head on to the foodie guide to Auckland on NZ Pocket Guide for more information on that.
Nathan Bates says, will you do different things when you come to Taupo when you visit next time? Yeah, probably. We always do something different. Maybe, you know, do a walk around along the Waikato River. That's one cool thing to do.
Yeah.
What else would we do in Taupo? We catch up with some mates always when we go to Taupo as well. So yeah, there's a lot to do in Taupo. So every time we pass by, we should stop
like
by.
Going to the Opepe Reserve. That's really cool. We like to go do that short walk in the really awesome native forest. There's 2 sides to the reserve. So there's like the side, which is like the historic side. And then there's the, you know, nice, really cool forest side. So we usually go to the really cool forest side.
Sam seems to say, I love you guys. The best NZ traveling guide. Oh, you're very lovely.
Cool. Thank you.
This is the best. Here you go. Boom. Why un dia nos fuimos? I may have butchered your name, my friend. I'm really sorry. And says, hi guys, I'm Romy. Oh well, Romy's better. I'm going to stick with Romy. I also have a YouTube channel about New Zealand, but in Spanish. I live in Cambridge, and I'm really enjoying New Zealand. Have you been in Cambridge before? Hell yes, we've been to
Cambridge.
To Cambridge, yes.
Yeah,
we've been to Cambridge. We have some videos of Cambridge as well. So yeah, here you go.
We've been to Mount Maunganui Sanctuary Mountain, which is near Cambridge, and that's one of our favorite places in the area. So we definitely recommend going there if you haven't been.
Big Dealer in the house is asking us if there is any African restaurant in New Zealand. Not that I know of. I mean,
I seem to recall there is one in Oamaru, which is near Dunedin. I know there's like a place there which is like African inspired. So yeah,
here you go.
There's a random place for you.
And Nathan says, next time you are in Taupo, we should meet up somewhere. You need to message on Facebook so that we can organize that together.
Yeah.
All right, this is gonna wrap up. Oh no, that's a lot of questions right here. We don't have time for those. It's the end already. So come back next week and ask again. nzpocketguide.com. You've got an article, and there's even an article to answer your question, Samson, when you ask what's the gayest neighborhood in Auckland. Here you go. You can find it on nzpocketguide.com. We actually talk about the gay scene in New Zealand, so you'll be able to actually get some information there.
I even think on the last live session we did cover that question as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we did talk a lot about that already. So we have to wrap up. Guys, thank you very much for watching us. Thank you for hitting the like button and saying thank you for all our hard work. Thank you so much for joining us for the live session all the time. We'll be back here exactly the same time next time. Very much appreciate all your feedback as well. You guys are awesome. There is a link in the description below on when the next session will be, and I'm actually going to schedule some more because I know that I haven't scheduled any. I'm behind on that. Sorry about that. Bye-bye, guys.
See you next week. And thanks for joining us. And stay safe.